Why not me?" The scream echoed through the empty living room. Victoria's voice cracked against the walls like glass shattering. Outside, fireworks exploded in the sky. Inside, her world was collapsing. The wedding after-party was happening 3 streets away. Music, laughter, celebration. Her younger cousin just got married. 26 years old, radiant, pregnant already. And Victoria, 35, single, still explaining herself. She grabbed the wedding invitation from the table and tore it in half. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. Her makeup was smeared. Her gele had been thrown across the room. Her heels lay abandoned near the door. She fell to her knees. "God, what did I do wrong?" Her voice trembled. "I prayed, I fasted, I waited, I stayed pure. I walked away when you said walk away. I did everything right." Silence. The kind of silence that feels like rejection. She crawled to the sofa and pressed her face into the cushion to muffle her sobs. That was the moment, the breaking point. And family, welcome to Nightfall Tales by Wura. Tonight's story is not just a story. It is for every woman who has cried in silence, for every heart that feels forgotten, for everyone who has asked God, "Why am I still here?" If you've ever felt delayed, if you've ever been pressured, if you've ever smiled at weddings but cried at home, stay with me, because Victoria's story will shake you. Now let me take you back to the beginning, back to the man she almost called husband, back to the decisions that felt like loss, but were actually rescue. 6 years earlier, Victoria was 29 when she met Samuel. He was everything prayer points are made of. Tall, soft-spoken, church drummer, business-minded, respected. The first time he called her my future wife, she laughed shyly. "You're too fast," she said. "I know what I want," he replied confidently. Victoria had never felt chosen like that before. They prayed together, fasted together, planned together. She started imagining her wedding dress. She saved pictures of ring styles. She practiced writing Mrs. Samuel Adeyemi in her journal. Her mother loved him immediately. "This one is responsible," her mother would say. Her father nodded in approval. Even her pastor said he has leadership spirit. Victoria allowed her heart to rest. Finally. 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 But love sometimes hides behind a mask. The first sign came quietly. Samuel hated when she worked late. "Why are you always busy? A woman's priority should be her home." She brushed it off. The second sign came sharper. He checked her phone without permission. Who is this male colleague? The third sign came like thunder. One evening, during a heated argument, he slammed his fist on the table. "You think any man will marry you at your age if I leave?" The words froze her. At your age? She was 31. The fear entered her chest like cold air. He apologized the next day, bought flowers, quoted scripture, cried, and Victoria forgave him. Because she was scared to start again, because everyone was watching, because she didn't want to be that woman who almost married but didn't. Then one night, her phone rang at 2 a.m., unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something told her to answer. "Are you Victoria?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes." "I'm pregnant for Samuel." The room spun. Her ears rang. "What?" He promised to marry me too." Victoria couldn't breathe. Her heart pounded violently. When she confronted Samuel, he fell on his knees. "She seduced me. It meant nothing. The devil is attacking our destiny." But this time, God did not whisper. God shouted in her spirit, "Run!" She ended it. The engagement was canceled, invitations destroyed, family embarrassed. Her aunt shouted, "Couldn't you endure small?" But Victoria walked away shaking, crying, broken. 2 years later, Samuel was arrested for domestic violence against the woman he married. Victoria sat on her bed, staring at the news online. Her hands covered her mouth. That could have been me. The bruise, the shame, the hospital visits. God was protecting her, but she didn't understand yet. Age 33. Sunday afternoon. Family compound. Victoria knew something was wrong when all the aunties were sitting in a circle. Her mother avoided eye contact. Her father cleared his throat. "Victoria," her aunt began, "we need to talk." Her stomach dropped. "You are not getting younger," another aunt said bluntly. "At this rate, you will intimidate men." Her uncle added, "Reduce your standards." Victoria felt heat rise to her face. "I'm not rejecting good men," she said softly. "Then why are you still here?" someone snapped. Still here, as if she was stuck, as if she was expired goods. Her younger cousin walked in with her husband, holding hands. The comparison was silent but loud. Victoria excused herself and went outside. She stood under the mango tree she used to climb as a child. Tears fell quietly. She felt like a disappointment. That night, she lay on her bed staring at the ceiling. "God, am I cursed?"
Victoria was 34 when Daniel came into her life. He didn't look like the others. He was older, 42, calm, financially stable, soft-spoken. He didn't chase. He pursued. He brought groceries to her parents' house, fixed her father's broken generator, sent money quietly when her mother fell sick. Her family fell in love with him before she did. "This one is mature," her father said proudly. Victoria felt something she hadn't felt in years. Relief. Not butterflies, not excitement. Relief. He proposed after 5 months. No drama, no crowd. Just a quiet dinner and a simple ring. "I don't want to waste time," Daniel said gently. "We are not getting younger." Those words again. We are not getting younger. Victoria looked at the ring. Her chest was not jumping. Her heart was not racing. But the clock in her head was ticking loudly. She said yes. Not because she was certain, but because she was tired of being uncertain. The wedding date was set quickly. Family jubilation filled the house. Her mother danced. Her aunties bragged. Finally, finally, finally. But 3 weeks before the wedding, Victoria discovered something. It started with a bank alert that popped up on Daniel's phone while he was in the shower. A transfer. Large. To a woman saved as Cousin Ada. Her spirit stirred. Later that night, she checked his laptop. Not intentionally, just curiosity. But curiosity can open doors truth has been waiting behind. Emails, hidden accounts, loan threats, gambling records, private chats. Not cousin, mistress. Not investment, debt. Huge debt. Daniel wasn't financially stable. He was drowning, and he planned to use her salary and savings to rescue himself. When she confronted him, he didn't deny it. "Yes, I have challenges," he admitted calmly, "but that's why marriage is partnership." "Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice shook. "I didn't want to lose you." "Lose me." She stepped back slowly. "You were going to trap me." "Don't use that word," he snapped. That was the first time she saw anger in his eyes. Raw, sharp, threatening. "If you leave now," he said quietly, "you will regret it. You are not 25. The room became cold. There it was again. Her age, used like a weapon. Victoria removed the ring slowly. Her hands trembled. "I would rather be alone than lied to." She canceled the wedding,
3 weeks before. The humiliation was unbearable. Family members screamed. Her aunt slapped her. "Do you want to die single?" Victoria didn't cry in front of them. She just walked away. But that night, she broke completely.
It was 2:17 a.m. Victoria sat on the cold kitchen floor. The house was silent. Her chest felt heavy. She didn't pray. For the first time in years, she didn't pray. She stared at the ceiling. "Maybe you don't want me married," she whispered. She felt foolish, embarrassed, exhausted. She remembered the invitations already printed, the asoebi purchased, the whisper spreading through family WhatsApp groups. She imagined people laughing. She can't keep a man. She's too proud. She's too spiritual. Her phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "You just destroyed your last chance." Her breathing became uneven. Last chance. Was this her last chance? Fear crept into her bones. What if he was right? What if this was it? What if she missed her final opportunity? For the first time, Victoria considered calling him back, apologizing, accepting the chaos, just so she wouldn't be alone. But something inside her refused to move. A quiet strength. Weak, but present. She picked up her Bible slowly. It fell open to Psalm 121. "I lift up my eyes." Her tears dropped onto the page. Where does my help come from? And in that quiet kitchen, with no music, no pastor, no prophet, just silence, she felt peace. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady. And she knew she had escaped something dangerous. 1 month later, Victoria attended church again. It was a mistake, or so she thought. Whispers followed her like shadows. That's the one who canceled her wedding. Pride will not let her rest. During testimony time, a woman stood up. "I thank God for my husband," the woman smiled. "Not like some people who don't know how to keep theirs." The congregation laughed softly. Victoria froze. Her face burned. Her hands tightened. She wanted the ground to swallow her. After service, someone approached her. "You need deliverance," the woman said bluntly. "It's not normal at 35. Not normal. Victoria smiled weakly and left. She entered her car and locked the doors. Then she screamed, not from anger, from exhaustion. "How much more?" She slammed her steering wheel. "I did the right thing." Her voice echoed inside the car. "Why does doing right feel like punishment?" Tears blurred her vision. She rested her forehead on the wheel. And that was when her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello? Is this Victoria?" "Yes. This is St. Mary's Hospital. We need you to come urgently. Your ex-fiancé Daniel was brought in." Her heart skipped. "What happened?" "He was attacked by loan agents. It's serious." The phone nearly slipped from her hand. Loan agents. Debt. Violence. Hospital. Her body went cold. That could have been my husband. That could have been my life. That could have been my home. She leaned back in her seat, breathing heavily. For the first time, fear turned into understanding. She went. Not out of love. Out of closure. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and regret. Daniel lay unconscious. Bandaged. Bruised. His brother stood outside pacing. "Victoria?" He sighed when he saw her. He owes dangerous people. Her stomach twisted. He told them after marriage,
His wife would help clear it. Her ears rang. After marriage, his wife. She imagined herself in that hospital every week. Threat calls, fear, debt collectors knocking at midnight. She felt dizzy. She walked into the restroom and locked the door. Then she slid down the wall. And this time, she didn't cry from pain. She cried from revelation. God. Her hands covered her mouth. You saved me. The weight lifted. Not completely, but enough.
Weeks later, Victoria had a dream. She stood on a narrow road at night. Ahead of her was a man calling her. Come! She began walking toward him. Suddenly, headlights flashed. A truck came speeding from nowhere. She froze. Before it could hit her, an invisible force pulled her backward violently. She fell to the ground. The truck passed. The man disappeared. She woke up sweating, her heart pounding, and she heard it clearly in her spirit. Delay saved you. She sat upright. Tears streamed down her face. Every canceled wedding, every broken engagement, every humiliation, intervention. 36. Victoria changed. Not her status, her posture. She stopped introducing herself with apology. I'm Victoria. Not, I'm still single. She started traveling, building her business, laughing again. One evening, her mother sat beside her quietly. I'm sorry, her mother whispered. We pressured you. Victoria smiled gently. It's okay. Because now she understood something deeper than marriage. Wholeness. She was no longer desperate, no longer afraid, no longer ashamed. Peace replaced panic, and peace looks beautiful on a woman. Years later, Victoria would tell this story differently, not with tears, with gratitude. If I married at 29, she would say, I would have been abused. If I married at 34, I would have been in debt and fear. I thought I was being delayed. She would smile softly. I was being defended. So if you are watching this, if you are 30, 35, 40, and still waiting, you are not behind. You are not rejected. You are not cursed. You might be protected. The doors that didn't open, mercy. The proposals that collapsed, shielding. The embarrassment, redirection. One day you will whisper, thank you for not answering that prayer. And family, if this touched you, if you've ever cried in silence, if you are still trusting God's timing, type in the comments, I am protected. Because sometimes the reason you are still single is because heaven is still fighting for you. So before you close this video, before you scroll away, before you wipe those tears and pretend you're fine again, listen carefully. Victoria thought she was being delayed. She thought she was being punished. She thought heaven had forgotten her address. But what she didn't know was that God was standing between her and disaster, blocking what she couldn't see, intercepting conversations she never heard, closing doors that would have destroyed her peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's your story too. Maybe the reason he stopped calling was because God saw what you didn't. Maybe the reason the engagement collapsed was because God refused to let you enter a lifetime of pain. Maybe the reason you are still single at 30, 35, 40 is not because you are unwanted, but because you are too valuable to be mishandled.
Listen, marriage is beautiful, but wrong marriage is a prison. Loneliness is painful, but regret is heavier. You cried because the relationship ended, but what if heaven was celebrating your escape? You felt embarrassed when the wedding was canceled, but what if angels were rejoicing because a tragedy was avoided? Sometimes we beg God for a door, and He sees the fire behind it. Sometimes we call it delay, and He calls it protection. If you are watching this and your heart feels heavy, if you've ever asked, why not me? If you've ever smiled at weddings but cried at night, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not too much. You are not running out of time. God's timing is not your enemy. It is your shield. And one day, you will look back at this season of waiting, not with shame, not with anger, but with tears of gratitude, because you will finally understand why it had to fall apart, why it had to hurt, why it had to delay. Because what felt like rejection was divine redirection. What felt like silence was strategic protection. And what felt like loneliness was preparation. Family, if this story touched you tonight, if you felt seen, if you felt understood, if you felt comforted, don't leave quietly. Type in the comments, God is protecting me. Let that be your declaration. And if you're new here, this is Nightfall Tales by Wura, where we tell stories that heal, stories that confront, stories that remind you that you are never alone. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs hope tonight, because somewhere, there is a woman crying on her bathroom floor. There is a man questioning his worth. There is someone thinking they have missed their moment, and your share might be the reminder they need. Remember this, delay is not denial. Closed doors are not curses, and waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. Sometimes, the reason you are still single is because heaven is still standing guard over your destiny. Good night, and trust God's timing.